Try this again. 4.3, advanced three-circle Venn diagrams. So when we read them, we have to first of all identify the different regions. The regions that have no overlaps are the regions that we call only. So for example, the first question is saying, how many have only 3 pets? Well, if I'm looking at the pet circle right here, the only 3 pets is the one that has no other circles attached to it. So that would be 3. So how many only have pets? That would be 3. Okay? So we're trying to identify the regions. Now, how many people have pets in general? Did it say only in that question? No. So it is different from question 1 because question 1 said only. So now, this next question, I want everything in those circles. So I'm going to take a look and I'm going to take 3 plus 1 plus 1 plus 6 to give me 11. So 11 people have pets in that circle. So if we were building this Venn diagram, we would have a line coming out that had the total of the circle. So that is my total of my P circle. Number 3 says, how many people have cholesterol issues and can't decide what to work? This one's talking about and. If I'm talking about and, I'm talking about a region that's overlapping. So if I were to shade these for you, an and means take a look at where it's double shaded. So if I say to you, cholesterol, okay, here's the cholesterol circle, and then it says, and can't decide what to eat. Well, there is the can't decide what to eat. Which region was double shaded? The 6 and the 2. So this region right here is the cholesterol and can't decide dinner. So this is a double overlap situation that includes our middle triple overlap. So we would have 6 plus 2, which makes 8. The next one says, pets or cholesterol. So now we want pets or cholesterol. So that's this region. Or sorry, well, the question says or. If it says or, it means it could be all of the pets or all the cholesterol. So basically, which number would I not add to it? The 17. Now, yeah, how many have pets or cholesterol? So the or is all of both circles. It didn't say they can't have the D circle in it. Okay, if it did, I wouldn't include the 6, 1, and 2. But it just said the pet and the cholesterol. So we're going to add the whole pet circle, which we know adds to 11. And then we're going to add 70 to it. So we should get 81. Okay, we should get 81 for that. Now, if I change that question, and I change the or in here, if I changed it to and, how would that change the question? I'll answer your question in a second. If I change the or, how would that change my answer? Well, if I change it to an and, okay, let's erase all the drawings here. If I change this guy to an and, that's pets and cholesterol. It would just be this overlapping region right here. Okay, the and is the overlap of both circles. Okay? All right, number 5. Number 5 says to us, what does the number 2 outside the circles indicate? So what is this number 2 referring to? He's the outlier, but for this situation, what would we call him? People that don't have pets. They have no problem deciding what for dinner. These people have problems deciding what for dinner. And they don't have cholesterol issues. Okay? So they don't have cholesterol issues, don't have pets, and they don't have an issue deciding what's for dinner. Okay? They got their poop in a group. Next. What does the number 2 inside the circle refer to? So this number 2. What would this number 2 refer to? Good. only cholesterol and can't decide what to eat. You have to include the only cholesterol and can't decide what to eat. Because if you don't say only those two, then you're including the 6 as well. Okay? So these guys, number 2, are the ones that have no cholesterol issues and can't decide what they're having for dinner. But they have pets. How do we know that this group of 2 here has pets? Or sorry, don't have pets. Thank you. Because they're not in the pet circle. Okay, they're not in the pet circle. So these guys here, no pets. Okay, that's one of the things that number 2 indicates. They don't have pets. Okay, what does the number 6 inside the circle mean? Sorry? All 3, good. So, all 3 overlap. So they call that the triple overlap. So those are the people that have all 3 issues. So they've got cholesterol issues, they can't decide where to eat, and they have pets. Okay? Number 8, what does the 17 refer to? What does the 17 refer to? The number of people Thank you. I'm looking for the word only. The number of people who only have troubles deciding where to eat. Deciding where to go for dinner. Okay, so they're the ones that only have issues deciding what's for dinner. All right, now we're going to shade some fantastic regions here. Let's shade our fantastic regions. You ready? All right. So the first one has an and. So if I've got an and, I'm looking for double shading. So we're going to shade A and we're going to shade B. But if it wants the and, what is it actually only wanting for A and B? The overlaps. The only thing that should be shaded is this little piece. If I shaded A and I shaded B, it would be the overlap double shaded. Okay? So you want only what's for A and B. So if I were to write the description, you would say it is all things in A and B. Doesn't say it can't be in C. So all things in A and B. What do you think you would describe, or how would you describe the second example, A or B? How would you describe that? Good. All the things in A or the things in B or both. So we would say all of both. So we would shade all of the A circle and all of the B circle, even where it's overlapping C, because it doesn't tell us that we can't. But we would only have our circles shaded. So the next one is a double shade. So we're going to double shade the next one. So if you want to just watch up here first and then put it on your diagram, that would be just fine. So how would we describe what it's talking about first? A and B prime. How would I say that? A and B prime. What does it want? Mm-hmm.
It's talking about A and everything that's not.
Okay. Everything that's A and not B. Yes, you want where they overlap. So the first thing we do is shade all of A. So don't shade yet, just watch. So if I shaded all of A, there's all of A. Then it says to me, everything that's not B. Well, if I shade everything that's not B, I'm going to have the outside shaded, I'm going to have C shaded, and I'm going to have part of that A shaded. So where do I find my double shading? Where do I find the double shading? So if I took the blue away, I'm just going to take the blue shading away. If I took the blue away, what part of the red was overlapped? What part of the red is overlapped? What part of A is overlapped? Okay, let me put it in green, darker. This is our overlap section. It's going to be funny. So it's going to be a half moon of A. It's going to be almost all of A. So remove that out. Can you see which part of A is now double overlap shaded? Yeah? So that's what you're going to shade, is only what's green. Okay? So do you see how the double shading works? Okay?
I wouldn't shade C.
Okay, let me just back that up. So we shaded all of A and everything not B. The blue is everything not B. It includes C, right? But I can't include this B circle at all.
Right.
Okay, so if I take that away, between the red and the green, sorry, between the red and the blue, what part was shaded? Just this green was overlapped.
So with A and or
Yes.
Got it.
That's right. Absolutely. Let's try a few more. Here's a couple more. Now these ones have something added to the end of them. When they've got three things they're talking about, including brackets, this is when you need to take it slow, but we always start with the brackets first, okay? Brackets, just like Venn, they have to go first. So, it's an and. This one is telling us A and B prime. So what is in brackets here? A and everything that isn't B. So we want A and, pardon me, capital A, everything that's not B, the and here overlapping with everything that's not C. So I'm going to do some double and triple shading here. I want you to just pay attention and see if you know which parts. Okay? So I'm going to first of all shade A and everything that's not B. So here's my A, and I want where it overlaps with everything that's not B. Okay, overlapping with everything that's not B. Okay, so there's the stuff in the brackets. There's my B circle. So, which part is double shaded? The green on top of the red is double shaded. So that's the section I want. So we want this section right here. Okay, that's the brackets. That's what's in brackets, okay? That's the section we're talking about. Now I'm going to get rid of the rest of the shading. Okay, so that's the section we're talking about. And now we got to go to the rest of the question. So that's only the brackets. Now we need to know, and it's overlapping with everything that's not C. So now I've got to shade everything that's not C. So everything that's not C is going to be everything outside that C circle. So where does it overlap with the black is what we want. Where does it overlap with the black? That's what we're looking for. So I'm going to draw it in red. This is where it overlaps with the black. So here's some black. There's the rest of the black. And there it is. So we only want this section. That's it. We don't want anything else. So the blue can go. And the black can go. That's all we want shaded. Okay? So it's a good idea when you're doing questions like this to use not markers, but pencil crayons, different colors that you can shade lightly, and then you can see where your double and triple shading is, and then you can erase it. Or use highlighters, use different colored highlighters, and where you see the double and triple shading of where the highlighters intersect, that's the region you want. So what I would suggest is on a scrap piece of paper, you do all the shading, and then on your answer paper, you put the actual answer. Does that make sense? Okay. Let's take a look at B. What does B say? So I'm just going to write it right above. So it says, I'm just going to erase what we've got written down here so I have room to write. So we're looking at letter B here. So we got to take the brackets first. A or B. So what does A or B refer to? Hands up. A or B. Good. All that's in A and all that's in B. Okay, because it could be all of A, or it could be all of B, or it could be both. So that's why it's all of the A and B circle. But it doesn't tell us that we can't use C. Okay, so there's our first part of our shading. Now what does it want? Yep.
So or is everything in both, and
yes.
And is just the overlap?
Beautiful. Yep. Now we want this red section we have shaded. Now we're working on the rest of the question right here. And C prime. So let's write our description of the first part. So all of A and all of B. Actually, we have to use the or word. All of A or all of B or both. Okay, so that's what our first part means. Now, the second part means and overlaps with, what does C prime mean? Everything that's not C. Okay, with everything that is not C. Okay, so now I'm going to shade the next section. So everything not C. Here we go. Okay, so now again we want the double shaded region. So my double shaded region, I'm just going to shade now in black. So you can see it, and then I'll take the other shading away. So you can see what part's shaded. So the double shaded part. Okay, so let's take away the blue and take away the red. That's what you should have shaded. Everything except the C circle. So all of A and all of B without the C. That's what you should have circled for letter B. Letter C, I want you guys to try. I'm going to shade what the answer is. I want you guys to try it so you know how to do the question. So this is the part that should be shaded in the final answer. I want you to take a couple minutes and practice and see if you can create that as your final answer. Push pause now and play when you're ready. Okay. The description in brackets means all of B or all of C or both. Then the next part says overlapping with A. So I'm going to erase the answer and let's shade what we have here. So B or C. So all of B and all of C. Okay, we got everything in B and C shaded. Okay, so there is our shading. Then it says all of it overlapping with A. So, and A. So I'm just going to now color those guys in green. And that is my double overlap right there in green. So the part that's double shaded is the green part. I'll take the blue away, and that's your final answer. Okay? We're going to do a couple examples, and then you'll have one for homework, of course. So let's take our first example. So we're going to create a Venn diagram. So we're using the exact same steps as we did with our double Venn diagrams. But it's always easier to start from the inside and work to the outside. So we've got a triple overlap and then 3 double overlaps and then our single spots. So we always start with our first region, the triple overlap, if we have one. So if they tell it to us, this one did, it said 25 people drink all 3 flavors. So we know our middle already, 25. Then it says, this is how we're going to draw our lines. So it says 52 root beer and Coke. So I find root beer and Coke, and I draw a line because that means it's this section that I'm outlining in red. So I have to draw a line that comes out, 52, because it means that this section here that I'm putting a line and the 25 have to add the 52. So that means I'm going to subtract, and this guy equals 27. Okay? The next one says 43 drink Coke and orange. So I'm going to take the Coke and orange section, okay, the double overlap section, and I pull this out, and it has to equal 43. Now I take 43 and subtract that middle one. So 43 subtracts the middle one, leaves us 18 in that section. Now they're going to give us the next overlap. 57 root beer and orange. So that's this section right here that I'm outlining in black. Okay, so that's going to come out as a 57. Now, subtract, you'll get 32 exactly. Now we've got 3 regions left and the outlier. We have to find out if there's an outlier or not. We're not sure. So, it tells us 92 drink root beer. So that means this whole circle has to add to 92. Well, if we know 3 of the 4 numbers out of 92, we just subtract. So we're going to take 92 and subtract the 3 regions in the root beer, and we're going to get 8 left over. So all of the numbers in the part that I'm going to outline right now, all of these numbers have to add to the 92 total. Okay? It says 115 drink Coke, so I'm going to pull Coke out, that's 115. And I'm going to do the exact same thing now. I'm going to take 115, and I'm going to subtract the numbers that are in this red circle. So the ones in the red. So I'm going to subtract 27, 25, and 18. And I'm going to get 45. Then it says 100 drink orange. So I'm going to put 100 coming out. And now I'm going to take everything in this blue circle and subtract those numbers from 100. And that's going to leave me what's left for orange only, which gives me 25. Now we need to add up every number in every section of our diagram here, because we have 185 students that we surveyed. So we need to add every section here and subtract from 185. And that's going to give us our outlier if there is one. There may not be one. We have to literally subtract to find out. So I'll give you a minute to do that. So subtracting, we end up with 5 left over. All right. Now if I asked you, these are the 4 questions I would like you from this diagram to find out. First question. How many drink none of those flavors? What is that question asking? How many drink none of those 3 flavors? Thank you. It's looking for the outlier, exactly. So that equals 5. It's the outlier. Number 2, if it asked for only Coke, what section of our diagram does it want? Does it want the whole Coke circle?
Just 40.
The part that's not overlapped. So it wants 45. Good. What about only orange? Only orange, 25. What about only root beer? 8. Good. All right. One last example. All right. You have 3 questions to answer. 4 questions, pardon me again. First question to answer. How many use none? Number 2. How many only cell phone? Number 3, only social media. And number 4, only texting. So these are the 4 questions we are going to solve after we have outlined everything in our Venn diagram. So I'll give you a moment to write those questions down. Okay, you got a few minutes? Let's take a look at what's going on. So we've got cell phone, texting, and social media. Total for cell phone, you should have is 66. Social media should be 34. And texting should be 76. Then we find 12 for the middle. This section has to add up to 18. This section here has to add up to 19. And this section here... Okay, we were interrupted. This green section must add to 56. So now we can start filling in those other parts of those sections. So this must be a 6 because 12 and 6 must add to 18. This down here is going to be a 7. 12 and 7 add to 19. And up here we need a 44 because 12 and 44 are going to give us 56. Now we can find our single totals, which gives us 4, 9, and 13. When we subtract from how many were surveyed, we find out that we've got an outlier of 5. Now, how do we know we have an outlier of 5? It didn't tell me how many were surveyed, but it gave me everything in percentages. And when we add up everything in circles, we get 95, which means 95%. So that means everything in the diagram itself has to add to 100%. 95 plus 5 gives us our 100%. This concludes lesson 4.3, triple Venn diagrams.